Jennifer Houston, congratulations on your Emmy nomination this year for casting Orange is the New Black for Netflix. How
Thank
cool is
you.
that?
It's very cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And of course, you're kind of a pro at this whole Emmy thing already. You've won two before. You won
Yes.
for Girls in 2012, and you
Yes.
won for casting the Pacific in 2010.
Yes.
So I guess my first question is, what's the secret sauce? What are you doing right that some of these other casting directors aren't doing very well?
Oh no, 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 no. They're all doing it well. It's just I just was very fortunate to have these projects come to me and work with these wonderful people, truly. Um, and and I love casting character actors and good faces, and for all three of these projects, that's what was required. Um, so I did it, and I love it, and I think all of these people are beautiful, and I'm so happy that they get to be seen all over the world now. So
Right. And some of them for the first time too, which must be awesome.
yes, which is pretty cool. A
And
lot
you
of them
know,
were
Orange,
theater actors.
right? Orange is the New Black. It's almost more than a TV show. It's like a cultural experience because it exploded in a way that really hasn't happened in a long time on TV. And you were a part of all this from the very beginning. So tell us, like, how you got involved with with the show and with the casting. How did that all come about for
Well, Neri Tenenbaum, who's one of our producers and line producers, she was setting up interviews for New York casting directors because she's in New York and Genji's in LA. And knowing that we were going to shoot here to interview for the show, and because she had seen Girls, obviously, and thought it might be a good match. So I actually Skyped. This is like my second Skyping thing with you, if this is kind of
you?
Skypey, whatever. That was my first Skype interview. It was with Genji and Mark Burley and Tara Herman, who are the other executive producers. And it was really, I was really nervous because I was doing what I'm doing with you right now and kind of like looking at myself and then looking at the person. I didn't know what I was doing. But Genji had watched Girls and loved Girls and kind of got my sensibility, and I got hers obviously from the get go because I'd read the script and I could kind of see what they were going for. They wanted to kind of populate this with all unknown faces, real looking faces. And they were all three of I loved all three of them from the moment I started talking to them. They're really good people, good souls, great senses of humor, and we had the same taste, and that was perfect for me. And of course, I got off the phone call, called my associate, and was like, "Yeah, I don't think I got that job," but then they called, and because I was like, "I think I sound like an idiot." Plus, it was on Skype, and I looked like an idiot or whatever. And they called, and they wanted me, so I was really excited because it was totally a brand new venture. I mean, House of Cards had not come out yet, so
Gotcha.
nobody was talking about like at least nobody had seen Netflix and the binging and the whole model that they created. So we cast it before House of Cards aired, basically. So it was a totally new kind of format and model, and it was exciting. It was not scary. It was just sort of different more than
Mhm.
anything else. Uh, but I liked it. We already were going to do. It wasn't just doing a pilot and waiting for it to get picked up. We were doing all 13 episodes back to back, and yeah, that's how I got the job. I was just lucky, and like I said, I have the same taste as Genji, and I think that is really, I mean, that's the best way to cast. And if you have the same taste as the director or the producer, that's when really amazing things can happen. You know.
Awesome. And the crazy thing about this show, in terms of at least the Emmys, is that
Mhm.
you're nominated for season one, even though the second season has aired already, and you're filming the third season now. So are
Right.
you're still involved in the show here in season three in terms of like guest stars and things like that?
Oh my God, yeah, every episode. Yeah,
Awesome.
we're in the middle of casting season three right now. So, um, yeah, I mean, that's how TV shows go, I guess.
Right.
I guess time-wise, it didn't qualify for the Emmys last year. I guess,
Right.
because there's like windows, there's like a span.
Hmm.
So it qualified this year, which wasn't great. I mean, and it was just such a lovely surprise. And I mean, the surprise, I mean, the really wonderful thing was that so many people watched it and got it and liked it, because it really, on paper, I didn't, I had no idea this would be something that would appeal to the masses, really. And it does. So I'm really excited about that. It's really great when people
And
in other countries are watching it. I mean, that's crazy. So
and speaking of season 3, is there any like guest stars that we can look forward to next year? Anyone that
I can't tell
you
you. I
can't
can't
tell us?
tell you.
I had a
No.
feeling you would say that.
It's top secret. Can't tell you anything. It'll be great, but I can't tell you anything. Yeah,
Right.
sorry.
And you talked a little bit about how they wanted you to cast completely unknowns for this, and I think that's just a fantastic idea for the show. And I mean, when I watched the pilot last year, I think the only people I recognized from other projects were Kate Mulgrew, of course, and Jason Biggs, and maybe Natasha Lyonne.
And
And then all
Laura
of a sudden,
Prepon.
oh yes,
And,
yes.
yeah.
And all of a sudden, Taylor Schilling is an Emmy nominee, and Uzo Aduba, and Laverne Cox. So you brought these people out of nowhere, and they're Emmy nominees within a year. How does that feel? That must be so rewarding.
It's rewarding, but actually, I'm more proud of them than, like, I was more excited about their Emmy nominations than my own, even, because it's just such a wonderful validation of their work and how good they are. I mean, I opened the door for them, and lucky enough that I have the privilege to cast them, but it's really, they did all the work. They really did an amazing job, and they deserve it. So I'm just proud. I'm like a proud mother, kind of, more than anything else. I think that's the best way to put it.
And the cast is so enormous. It's almost like the Game of Thrones of the comedy world.
It
Were you
might be a
guys
little
ever?
bigger than Game of Thrones. We had to count up. And we figured in the first season, it was 6 series regulars, 54 recurring characters, and like almost 100 day players, just for the flashbacks and stuff, people that would just be in one episode.
Mhm.
So having 54 recurring characters, and it's not like they are just like people that are in 3 episodes, they're in 10 episodes, so
Right.
it was, even seeing those numbers after we counted them up, I was in shock. So
Were you
yeah.
ever worried that the cast would maybe be too big for people, for the viewing audience to kind of, not to follow it, but to become like fans of each characters, or to, you know, like, I guess what I'm saying is, were you ever worried that it was too big for people to understand, too big for people to follow?
No, because on purpose, I cast and Genji cast very specific actors, very specific. Everybody is very different. So I felt that by doing that, you'd really differentiate between the characters and people. And I think people watching would identify different with different actors and different characters throughout the whole thing. So I didn't think it was going to be too big to follow any of the stories. And I think the writers are amazing, and the way they construct the stories doesn't make it overwhelming for the viewer. You have the Piper storyline going, but then you always have a flashback of one of the other inmates and seeing their story. So it's not that confusing, I don't think.
Right.
I wasn't confused, so I never thought people would get confused. I think audiences are pretty smart, and especially the ones that are watching Netflix are very smart. So
Yeah.
I really do think that. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, did anybody not audition for the show? Did anyone kind of get a free pass based on name recognition?
Well,
Or
it's not a free pass. It's not a free pass. These are the only people from the first season. Michael Harney, who plays Healy, he had been on Weeds, and that was somebody that Genji wanted right off the bat. Okay, so he didn't have to audition. Pablo Schreiber, again, had been on Weeds. Genji knew. I've known Pablo for 15, 18 years maybe, so as soon as she said his name for Porn Stash, I was like, I can't do better, so couldn't hire him. You know, he's perfect. And and Taryn Manning. Taryn Manning, we cast. We did a lot of idea. We did a lot of ideas for Pennsatucky, and Taryn didn't have to audition. So those are the only three. Everybody else did, right? I mean, yeah. So from the first season.
TV fans are so happy to have Kate Mulgrew back on TV. How did you guys get her? Yeah, I mean, she's a TV legend. How hard was it or easy was it to get her to do Orange is the New Black?
Well, that was a little selfish for me too, because I like casting people that I used to watch when I was a kid and put them in TV shows now. You know, like Peter Scolari on Girls. These are people that I loved, you know, from the 80s and 90s. And so if I can get them a job and show how amazing they still are, I'll do it. So Kate, obviously, I actually, Kate goes way back to when I was a kid. My mom used to watch Ryan's Hope. So she was on that. So I actually remember watching her on a soap opera. And then she's Captain Janeway, you know. So, and I'm a big geek with like sci-fi, fantasy, all the genres and stuff. So I'm very aware of her skills and her talent and her ability. So, and no, she's amazing and she's completely game. And she was excited when she got the material because it's smart and her character is pretty wonderful. And there was a lot there to work with, and she's a really smart actress, you know. So she knew that this was a great part, and she's kicked its ass. I mean, she's really she's. I mean, Red is amazing, and I can't. I'm so excited she got nominated for an Emmy, and people recognize that, you know.
Exactly.
What I knew, it's so invalidating when it's stuff that I know. And then it gets, you know, it's official with a nomination. So,
last week, Gold Derby chatted with Uzo Aduba about her Emmy nomination and her career. She actually told us that after years and years of getting neglected, she was almost ready to throw in the towel and just quit acting altogether. And
I know, I heard that story. It broke my heart.
Yeah, and to go from that to being an Emmy nominee, I guess you're a career saver. How does that make you feel knowing that you saved her career?
That's very, very nice. She saved her own career. I didn't do that audition. She's the one who brought it. She's amazing. She has that talent and that skills, you know, those skills. I opened a door at the right time for her, and I'm so happy I did because it would have been a big loss, I think, to, you know, culturally and to television and film, because I think she's going to go on and do some pretty amazing things now. So I'm happy that my timing was good. So that's all I can take credit for, really, you know. She's outstanding and she's one of the best people. I mean, that's the greatest thing about the show is everybody, all the actors are just good people, and it's just really nice to work with good souls, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And kind of switching gears, of all the TV shows that are out there, and there's a lot, what ones, just from a fan point of view, what show do you think has the best casting?
It's a very good question. Probably Game of Thrones. I would have to say Game of Thrones. Yeah, definitely. Nina Gold and Robert and Theo, they're amazing. I love them. They're amazing casting directors in England, and they really kind of as soon as that show started, I was in awe of their casting. I still am. They're fantastic. I mean, they've really plucked some of the most interesting actors, known and unknown, you know, for the show.
I was going to say
the best part.
There is a lot of unknowns on that show. Is that something you look for? Just like as a fan, like of movies and TV, do you look for people that maybe aren't household names?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I love that. I mean, I mean, that's probably why I'm attracted to the sci-fi and like fantasy that personally, like, you know, Doctor Who's my favorite show. You know, I mean, it's like that's what I watch, and it's not about who's on it. It's about the story and the good. I mean, obviously, those are really wonderful London English actors are on the show. So, yeah, but I love everything. I'm been a fan since I was a kid. So I have been going to the movies and watching TV. You know, at 5 or 6 years old, that's all I did. All I ever wanted to do was work on movies and behind the scenes and be a part of making something. because I loved them so much when I was little, and then as I got older. So I derive a lot of enjoyment from it. I love it. I love being able to still be a fan. And yeah, if I watch a show where it's people I don't know, I love that because I look them up. I'm like, where did they come from? Who are they? Where do they live? Can I meet, can I meet them? Can I read them? Are they available for me? And I love that. And then and then obviously the people that you're supposed to know, the famous people. So it's a kind of a combination, I guess. But no, I don't necessarily look for a show based on who's in it. That's not really the way my taste works. It's just like if I like the subject matter and the story, so.
Right. And earlier I mentioned you won an Emmy for Girls, and I wanted to bring up, didn't you beat yourself that year? Weren't you also nominated for Feet? What was that like? Two nominations in the same year is awesome. And then you beat yourself. Were you angry at yourself that day?
I did. I was very jealous, and I hated myself. That's the collaboration. I love them both. They're dear friends. And and then it was Girls, so it was just, I didn't think I was going to win that year. So I really didn't. I thought Modern Family was going to win. I just didn't think Girls was the show that people were going to vote for, So it was a total surprise to me. And it was really exciting, It was really, really exciting because the Pacific was great too, but that I did the New York casting. So that was like, there were 5 or 6 of us who won that. But Girls was just mine. So that's why it made it more special, And right. I have a really great special relationship with Lena, and that really, it was amazing to be able to share that with her, so.
And one of the common denominators with these shows, Orange and Girls and Veep, is that they all follow strong female characters. And how important is that for television to have shows from the female perspective?
Honestly, I think that I think that it's great that it's happening. I think that we needed more of them. We had Mary Tyler Moore. We did have those shows back, in the past, but they sort of got phased out for all these other things. And so I think that it's, obviously I'm a woman, so I love it. And I love that I can cast mostly women every week. I love that. It's obviously important. There's so many stories, that need to be told, and it has to happen in the film as well too. I think maybe TV is going to hopefully help, maybe do it in film. But look, like Lucy was the box office winner this week, and that's Scarlett Johansson. It was a girl, action film. So I hope that that's an indication that studios and networks will start, really noticing that this isn't just for, just not to be fair. It's actually could be profitable, if you do it the right way. So.
Right. And in terms of awards, like all 3 of these shows are nominated for Best Comedy Series, and
I know.
Oh, except for Girls, but that's been nominated before. But Lena Dunham is up.
Last year,
yeah.
And
Lena
Julie Louis and Adam are nominated. Mm-hmm.
And Taylor Schilling's up. So many of the people you've cast or the shows you've worked on are nominated this year, which is just so awesome. It must be it must feel so rewarding for you.
It does. It does. Again, I'm really proud. I'm just really proud of them. I couldn't be prouder. They just did so well. And Lena and Adam always. They're both amazing. So I'm so happy that they got recognized this year because they deserved it, especially for last season. And the Orange Girls. Again, it's just very validating, that we're on the right path and we're doing the right thing. So, it's great. I couldn't be happier. It's a gift, it's truly a blessing.
And when you won for the Pacific,
I don't take it for granted. Trust me.
Yeah. When you won for the Pacific in 2010, that was your first Emmy nomination. Is
yes.
That right?
Yes.
Can you take us back to that night and the excitement of being a first time nominee and a first time winner? Do you remember what you said?
Oh, I didn't have to. Thankfully,
Backstage or on the.
yeah, yeah. No, thankfully, I didn't have to speak because Meg Lieberman, who was the main casting director on it, she did the speech. So actually, it was a really lovely way to kind of, you know, uh, kind of break into the Emmys, if that makes sense, because I got to go up there with Meg and my three other casting directors, and just stand up there, listen to Meg speak, and then get your Emmy, and then sit back down in my seat. I mean, I actually don't remember a lot of it. That one is kind of a blackout. I was so kind of just high. Once we got back to our seats, we stayed for the whole rest of the technical Emmys, which are like 4 hours long, and I remember nothing, at all. I was texting my dad and my sister, and it was just like it was just mind blowing. Like that's what that felt like. And then, but I know it sounds silly, but it was like training for when I won for girls, because for girls, it was just me. So I had nobody to stand behind and just kind of smile. I had to actually, I literally ran up there because you only get 30 seconds to say anything. And I wanted to make sure I said thank everybody that deserved, that I really wanted to thank. So, and they only give you 45 seconds from the time your name is announced from wherever you're sitting to get to the stage and say your speech. So, and they don't see, you're not sitting like in the second row. So it's ridiculous. If you see the tape, I ran like a crazy person. And it's just adrenaline. It's pure adrenaline. I've never stood in front of so many people in my whole life. I was shaking. I was praying that I was saying what I wanted to say. I didn't do a speech or anything. In the morning, I just wrote down on a piece of paper just the names I knew I wanted to remember. And then I just kind of did my speech. So after I did it, I don't remember what I said. I had to go back and look at it afterwards and make sure I said all the right things. And then when I got backstage, I was just kind of doubled over. It was just like my whole system was kind of in shock, So I can't really describe it. I mean, that's how you describe it. It's scary and kind of amazing at the same time,
And here at Gold Derby, we cover all kinds of award shows, including the Oscars. And I feel like it's very strange that there's not an award for best casting at the Oscars for films. First of all, do you know why that's not a category? And is there some kind of a movement to get that category created? Because there was a documentary last year or 2 years ago called Casting By.
Yes. Well, that's the best. If you want to know why there isn't a casting Emmy, you should watch Casting By. I'm friends with the producers, and I was involved in it. I was interviewed, but a lot of us hit the cutting room floor. But including George Lucas and Paul Rudd, so I don't feel so bad. But it's that shows sort of the evolution of profession. The 40s, if you watch it, it shows both sides of the argument why there isn't an Oscar, why there should be an Oscar. It's a complicated, long history with studios and directors and stuff like that. It's not, you can't really be explained in a simple way. But there is, we finally got a branch in the Academy this year, which is a huge step.
Right.
And so we have representatives now, casting directors in the Motion Picture Academy. And that's a really good step in the right direction, I think. And I hope it continues, and I'll do whatever I have to do, to help out the cause, because there are so many amazing casting directors that work so hard and put films together that are beautifully cast that should be recognized, So, yeah, I'm really for it.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It feels like just a missing piece of the Oscars that just isn't quite there.
Yeah, but there's
Uh,
none for the Tonys. The Golden Globes don't do it. The Emmys are the only ones that recognize casting.
Good for you, Emmys. Good job.
Well, they're great. I mean, yeah, and it's so wonderful that they do recognize us, you know. So,
And throughout your entire career as a casting director, is there one single casting scoop that you got? Like one person that was just perfect for a role that you look back and say, that's because of me. I'm the one that did this. Like, what do you brag
oh,
about to your friends?
I don't brag, so I would never brag. Sorry, I'm looking at my associate because she's sitting here and I'm just like, Um, I don't brag because I don't feel like I don't feel like you discover people. I think that unless you like pluck them off the street, literally, you know, and bring them into a room. And I did that like once, but you know, it's not anybody you would know. But um, I guess, oh God, it's hard. I have to say Adam. I mean, Adam Driver was the first idea I had when I was reading Girls, the pilot, and I just felt it in my gut, and I had a feeling Lena would really really like him, and he was sort of that character. He could play that character, you know. So I guess if I had to say, I'm like, you know, I feel like I would never brag to anybody about it. I'm actually embarrassed talking about it, but I would definitely say Adam, just because that was like a gut thing, you know, and it worked, and so I'm really happy it worked. But he's what I saw when I read the script, so because I
Very
had known
cool.
him obviously before the the pilot, so
Mhm.
yeah,
He is perfect for that role too.
yeah. No, it was pretty amazing. I loved him since he graduated from Juilliard, and I was determined to get him something. I didn't know it was going to be like this, but
Yeah.
I really wanted to cast him very badly.
And final question: is there any advice you could give to young actors or actresses, people starting out in the business? Like, what do you look for, and what do you not look for in the casting room?
What do I not look for?
Like, what's some advice you could give them to do and not to do?
Um, I think they should go to college. I think young actors should go to college, even if they want to act from the time they're in high school. They should still go to college and still have that life experience because I think it will inform them if they do decide to act after college. This is for like young people, obviously. So I encourage that's a big thing for me because I think that those 4 years sort of can only inform their acting in the future if they want to become actors, you know. So I mean, that's for somebody who's like 18 and decides to do that for a living. Obviously, there's kid actors and there's all different sorts of things going on, but I think living and having a life that maybe is not acting or dramatic or theatrical before, I think really makes a difference in the way somebody plays roles. You know, any life experience I think that they can bring to the table is valuable. Um, and then just to be really authentic and truthful and not try to be something they're not and try to be as secure as they can with what they have and not to be scared to audition and to just kind of go in there. I mean, Bryan Cranston did this whole great thing about. Did you see that thing on?
Where he said, did he say like if you're an actor, just go in there and act, like don't worry.
Exactly.
That was a great. I saw that on YouTube. It was like one of the greatest
Yeah.
things I've ever seen.
And I think every actor should watch that because everything he said is exactly true. And I love that he said that. And I think every actor should watch that because he gets it, you know, and you can't obsess over things. You can audition for like 5 things. You can't obsess over all of them. You just got to do it, go in, do your best, and then see what happens, you know? I mean, that's the most important thing. It's really out of your hands. And I think that's the most important thing actors need to know that you could come in and give the best audition, but there are so many variables that determine who actually gets the part that you have no control over, you know? if you have the wrong color hair, if you look like the director's ex-wife, you're not getting the part, even if you got gave the best audition, you know? I mean, I hate to tell people that, but I think it's a valid point, you know? It's subjective. And I've seen it happen. I've seen people come in, give a better audition than other people, but they don't get the part, you know, for whatever reason. And it's not necessarily a negative reason, you know? So it's just you have to let go of all that, you know, always do your best and then just let it go and see and kind of let the universe determine it. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today. And best
all
of
right.
luck at the Emmys. I will actually be at the Creative Arts Emmys, so hopefully I see you there. I'll give you a thumbs up and wish you luck.
Good.
Yeah.
My sister,
Well,
she looks like me, so so it'll be fun. Thank you for this. I hope that it wasn't too wobbly with the phone.
no, it was great. There was a little technical difficulty beforehand, but I think everything got sorted out. It's all perfect.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much.
Cool.
Okay,
Thanks a lot
bye.
and good luck.
Thank you.